Hey y'all, so this is Seth Godin's book, The Dip. I'm excited about this book. This is a small book. I really love these small books like this. Um, it gets right to the point. It's not a whole lot of filler, whole lot of opinions and stuff like that. This book just get right to it, and I really like that. Seth Godin, a little background on him. He was the writer of Purple Cow. Um, what was the other book? And Small is the New Big, and then he has a Seth's blog, which is huge. It's a huge blog that he has, but he wrote this The Dip, and what The Dip is about knowing when to quit and knowing when to keep going, and that part of that journey, which is the dip, which he calls the dip. Like he has one quote that goes, "Winners quit fast, quit often, and quit without guilt until they can commit to beating the right dip for the right reasons," which is his opinion, which is pretty sharp. He also goes say stuff like the biggest separation between like superstars and everyone else is the dip, meaning that while superstars can push through the dip, they can do the exercise, do the task, keep going, whatever talent that they have to be able to strive to go through it, where everybody else would give up in the dip. A lot of people, the superstars will push through and they get through to the other side. So, which is really good. He also go into like being number one is underrated in our society because actually number one is paid like 100 times more than everybody else, 100 times more than number 100 that's out there. He got some really good pointers as far as like knowing when to quit, and not quitting during the dip. Like if you're going to quit, according to Godin, that you should quit at the beginning. Like just go ahead and quit at the beginning instead of wasting a bunch of time and then quitting during the dip. Just go ahead and quit at the beginning, or don't quit at all and just see it all the way through. That's his thing. You know, he gave a bunch of examples on that, real sharp quotes on it. Like I said, this book was sharp. It was to the point, and he get right into it. You know, like I said, either just he gave one example with like snowboarders. Like it's a lot of snowboarders that people that snowboard, but not a lot of professional snowboarders because most people to be a professional, you got to constantly do it. You got to grind through it, get through it, fall, get back up, get all buy all the equipment, the time, the money, everything, and it's a hard task or hard profession basically to do if you're not going to be committed to it, and if you're not going to do it, get through the dip. And those professional guys, obviously, they get through the dip to the other side. What else did he go over, which is nice? Oh, he had this one part where he went over with Biden that I thought was really nice. I'm gonna just read that really quick. Where we go? So where he says, oh yeah, here we go. So quitting. This is page 53, by the way. So quitting in a dip is usually a short-term decision and a bad one. So he said, when people quit, they are often focused on the short-term benefits. In other words, if it hurts, stop. And he used an example, which is interesting right now. Of course, this book was, when did this book come out in, when did this book, I knew it, I want to say 2000 and, where's the copyright on this book? I saw it. I saw myself on the front and the back. Where is the copyright? Let's see, but, yeah, '07. Okay, yeah, I thought so. I thought I saw it back here too. But anyway, but on page 53, he goes into of Joe Biden. He said when Joe quit the race for president in 1988, it was over an issue that seemed incredibly trivial today, especially today. He didn't give proper attribution to a quote in a speech, but at the moment, the pain was overwhelming, and Biden and his advisors couldn't see a way from here to there. So they quit. 18 years later, Biden is talking about running again. Now, this was '07, and so what a shame. According to Seth, he said if he had realized in 1988 that he was in a situation where he had nothing to lose, then he could have radically changed the conversation around the campaign. If he had changed the dip by forcing his way through it, he'd have a chance to leave his opponents behind. He gave another example too, but on the Joe Biden thing, it's interesting for that to be the case now because, of course, with Joe, running now, is something that it's a lot, to have to deal with it, with him running and going through it and, all of that now. Also, so then he gave another example. He said when kids drops out of football or karate, it's not because she's careful, not because she carefully considered the long-term consequences of her action. She does it because her coach keeps yelling at her, and it's not fun. It's better to stop. Short-term pain has more impact on most people than long-term benefits do. So he just gave like little different examples like that I thought was nice, and of course, I encourage you guys to read it for yourself. Another thing that was strong, really strong, and I was looking for this quote. I thought I can't remember what book I read it in, or if I saw it on a blog, or if I seen it in on YouTube, or I don't know. But anyway, this quote was about Google. Now this is strong, y'all. If you don't take nothing else from this book, take this. This is from Google's co-founder, Sergey Brin. Now, Seth said that Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, told me he knew that Google was going to get better every single day as we worked on it. And when we, let me start that all over again. All right, so Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, told me we knew that Google was going to get better every single day as we worked on it. And when we knew that sooner or later everyone was going to try it, so our feelings was that the later you tried it, the better it was for us, because we'd make a better impression with better technology. So we were never in a big hurry to get you to use it today. Tomorrow would be better. I know I joked, I got a little choked up there, still recovering from this surgery, but anyway, basically that's what Sergey Brin was saying. I'll read that again because I know I screwed up a little bit there. But anyway, Sergey Brin said, co-founder of Google told me he knew that Google was going to get better every single day as we worked on it. And we knew that sooner or later, everyone was going to try it. So our feeling was that the later you tried it, the better it was for us because we make a better impression with better technology. So we were never in a big hurry to get you to use it today because tomorrow will be better. Now that is strong. That's strong as death right there. And it's like, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs and business people out there, sometimes when you're pushing and pulling and you're doing all these things, sometimes that's the time when you constantly working and tweaking and fine tuning your craft. So you just get to the point to where, okay, well, sometimes it's better for people to find out who you are, and after you fine-tuned everything and everything is lined up, because you're going to leave a better impression, on people later. Because if everybody look at you now, in some cases when you don't have everything in line, in line, like in Google's case, if you'd have went on the search engine, Google, back when they first started, you wouldn't have had as much of a good experience. Most people got actually on Google very late. They said 90% of their customers came to them years after they were already on. That's strong. So, like I said, I take that and I had to sit back. I remember that quote from somewhere, but I could never figure out where that came from. But this is the book that it came from. This little book. Look at this little book right here. Like I said, I like these little books. because they get right to the point on a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, but that's something like even with and it takes like even with that with the example with Google or with going through the dip and all that kind of stuff and trying to figure out where you need to be. Like one of my dad quotes was, I don't know why I was thinking of this quote when thinking about this Google quote, that and it was just as simple as my dad would say, when you're struggling with something, he would say it takes some of us longer than others, and that was it. And it takes some of us longer than others. And what he meant by that was that even though you're struggling with something, it's just maybe this may be the thing that just you have to try and work on a little more than most people. And we all have things that we have to work on a little more, than most people. This just happened to be your thing that you have to work on harder. So I give y'all that too. It takes some of us longer than others. That's something that, like a calming kind of quote that I think about. I even say that to my kids sometimes, like, hey, it takes some of us longer than others, and does. It just depends on what that thing is, and some things you're gonna do very good in, move very fast in. So, like for me, I didn't actually start reading until I was 10 years old. But I know for all y'all, like 10 years old, that's not much. No, 10 years old is a long time before you start reading, and I had to practice at it and study it. And even to this day, I have to keep reading in order to keep up and keep my being able to keep reading at the speed that I'm able to read at. Because if I don't read, I'll lose it. But anyway, what I didn't know back then, because actually back then I didn't read, and I had to constantly practice and read to be able to keep up with my peers. But what I didn't know then, what I've learned now as a grown man, that habit that I formed by keep reading and practicing my reading, especially when I read to myself in a book, I can fly through the book fast, especially when I'm just reading to myself, because I constantly practice it over all these years because I was afraid of not being able of losing it. So I constantly would read it just to keep that practice up. So in case I ever had to read, I was good at it. So, but anyway, like even now, most of the peers that people that I know that's my age, younger, they can't read on the same speed that I read. But that's only because I practice. Not that I'm naturally good at it. I just constantly practice it. So that disadvantage all those years ago actually turned out to be an advantage now through practice and exercise and of that and staying on track. But anyway, but I just want to say all that. But yeah, but definitely with this dip, great book. Pick it up, get right to the point about the dip, learning when to quit, when not to quit, learn to quit early if you're going to quit early, or don't, and go all the way to the top. And especially don't quit in the dip. Don't do it, because once you get here, you can get paid hundreds of times more than what you were. So just want to leave that. All right. Like and share. All right.